Hey everyone, welcome to From the Ground Up, a podcast about building out in the open. Here at Motif, we're a big believer that the best software gets made when you show your work. So each episode, we sit down with a customer or someone from our team to swap real stories from the trenches, wins, rewrites, late night pivots, everything in between. And so we're glad you've joined us. Today, we're going to speak to Scott and Fernando from the Bureau, an amazing company that's doing some amazing things. So let's get started and let the gentlemen introduce themselves. So Scot Sustad from Bureau, welcome to From the Ground Up. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Thanks for having us. Scot Sustad, located in Vancouver, Canada. I'm a co-founder of Bureau, which is French for office, is how that ties in, not the FBI. I am a startup entrepreneur. This is our fifth business with my business partner, um, and I currently am co-founder and head of product on our team.
Excellent, Scott. Wonderful. And Fernando, would you mind telling us about yourself?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Amar, for this introduction as well. Actually, I'm an architect. I'm based in Argentina, my country. I spent the last 5 years in Europe. I joined Bureau during the last year. It's almost 1 year in the team. I am the design services manager. I am leading a team of designers and most of the Bureau project for the sales team.
Wonderful, Fernando. Thank you. And it's amazing. We have Canada. I'm in San Francisco and Argentina, all in on the same podcast, and so this is it's great to be connected. Scott, would you mind sharing with the audience who Bureau is, what your business is about, and a little bit about the history of your company, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, you bet. So Bureau, like I said, French for office. But what I tell people typically is we sell time machines, um, which is a little cheeky way to explain how we sell
Okay.
soundproof modular rooms and phone booths. Um,
Okay.
this is a COVID baby for us. Started in 2020 with the idea that we needed to perfect the perfect Zoom call. Zoom was going nuts. We have a marketing company. We lost about 60% of our revenue in a week. Um, and so we got really entrepreneurial and started thinking about what is going to be necessary during the pandemic and what's going to be coming, what's going to still be in demand coming out of it. And ended up really hustling pretty hard, thinking about how we could launch something quickly, and it led into a much larger project when we were doing research into video call technology, video call kits, different ways to enhance video calls. And turns out that in the research we were doing, the same phrase showed up in two different studies, and it said, in order to create the perfect video call, you need to control your environment.
Mm.
And we were thinking, how do you control your environment? How do you control your environment? Oh, you need some sort of like box or booth or small room.
Mhm.
Um, and that was the impetus of our business. And from there, we turned into a much larger project, as I said, than just a COVID video kit. And um, since that time, we started as Inbox. We merged with another company called Bureau out of Australia. We now provide 1 to 10 person booths for offices and beyond. Um, Exciting that we are the chosen partner for WeWork, um, as well as a recent development and quickly becoming one of the largest phone booth and offices or phone booth companies in the world as well. So excited to be partnered with Motif as well to streamline how we present these products, right? And you'll get to see them along the way.
Well, congrats on all of that, Scott. You have multiple offices around the world, right? You said, like
Yeah,
you had an Australian.
yeah, we're
Together, good. Yeah.
Vancouver, Toronto, New York, Dallas, London,
Right.
and Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide.
Wow, that's awesome. And you did mention we work as a big partner of yours. Would you mind sharing like who your clients maybe? Like who typically, secures your product?
Yeah, you know, uh, businesses with offices are our primary target. We do sell some into private places and public
Yeah.
areas like conference centers, hotels, even people in homes. One of the funniest ones is somebody buying one for a dog that barked during the day. So they bought a booth for their
Awesome.
dog,
Yeah.
so they didn't get kicked out of their apartment. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, it's pretty amazing because we work with, NASA as a client, SpaceX as a client, governments in many countries, but then down to, a one or two person
Yeah.
agency
Yeah.
that operates in a really small office.
Awesome. And then I know phone booths is kind of or video booths are kind of where you are focused right now, but your ambitions are bigger, right? You are thinking of that's step one of many that you're thinking about, right?
Yeah, our premise is essentially that the future is flexible. The permanent is past, we say.
Yeah.
And if you work in an office, and you've gone through a design and build out process, that that area is typically fit for purpose as soon as you move in. But
Yeah.
then um, organizations are like organisms; they grow, they change,
Yeah.
and um, modularity flexibility is a serious theme that
Yeah.
you're seeing across the board
Yeah.
in companies large and small,
Yeah.
and also the open plan office. All of the
Yeah.
data is out on it being not great for workers.
Right.
Easy to deploy, cool,
Totally.
but one of the greatest gifts you can give an employee is a door to shut. And
Yeah.
so our goal is to move into full sort of modular office infrastructure where we provide all of the components outside the wet areas of construction. So you
Awesome.
can move in a 2 or 3 weeks instead of several months.
That's really ambitious. There's a whole set of questions would love to ask you about that, but just in from a time perspective, I know modularity, flexibility is important to you. Like as you think about your company in terms of doing well with clients, like how do you differentiate? How do you kind of make sure that you're the company they work with as opposed to somewhere else that they could go for these kinds of solutions?
Yeah, well, we started the company with the goal to be serving the pragmatic customer who really appreciates great value. So a lot of times I say so many furniture companies out there have a boot company now, and they keep on ending up in like the Ferrari sort of price range.
Yeah.
And for many small businesses and large businesses alike, right? Budget is always a limitation, but
Yeah.
you want good quality. And people are often surprised by how much booths cost. Even at the high level, though, when you compare it to construction costs and move-in times and everything that's required in that, even the expensive booths are a sustainable option. They create that flexibility, um, but also are less expensive in the long run and are assets that you can sell, you can move with you. Um, but with that, we really focus on being the sort of the Honda Accord, I'd say, in a lot of ways. So a very high performing, um, pragmatic solution, great value, and then we focus on service and speed.
Okay.
So we're
Okay.
really connected to our customers, understanding their needs, and then we want our product to be available in 2 weeks or less.
That's awesome. So I think that would be a great way to sort of bring in Fernando. I do, your Honda Accord comment does remind me that the last time we were speaking, you used the phrase, you want to deliver a Mercedes at a Honda Accord price, like a really high quality product without breaking the bank for customers. And so that stuck with me. So let's talk
Mm.
about like speed and service. And I think this is kind of like for the audience, by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it into the chat. We'll ask Scott and Fernando at the right time, whatever is on your mind. So let's go back to sort of you mentioned speed and quality of service is important to you. So I think that's where the design services team comes in. So maybe maybe Scott, I'll start with you, and then we can let Fernando sort of build on that. Is like, what is like a typical client engagement look for you in terms of the first, like from the first time you make contact, and then you deliver the product?
Yeah, so quick overview is necessary. We have our standard products and configurations. Those, really fit the bill for 85% of customers. Um, but naturally, as you'd expect, there's another group of customers coming through our architecture and furniture dealer partners and interior designers, and even just individuals who have really specific needs or aesthetic desires. We offer a modified or customized bespoke version of our product. And um, Fernando runs our team that has built a very efficient process where we'll do a needs analysis, we'll do a feasibility analysis, and then we will help our customers with floor plans, with custom booths as well. And so there's a lot of back and forth in there, and it's a very physical product, right?
Right.
And people want to see what that's going to look like in their space. They want to essentially be able to visualize all the
Right.
different aspects of it. And so Fernando and his team work as sort of technical sales and sales enablement to work
Right.
alongside our customers. And that's where we've seen Motif be um, super helpful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So a great way to segue and bring Fernando into the conversation. Fernando, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your design services team, what you do, how you do it, and then we can talk about how Motif fits into your life. So why
Yeah.
don't you talk about your team and your process?
Perfect. Well, actually, the design service team is part of the product team led by Scott.
Yeah.
And the main challenge that we have in the past and actually today is because we are working remotely. A part of the time zones that we cover to deliver the project across the different regions that Scott mentioned before, the main challenge for us is to cover our time zone as well, because in the design services, we have one designer in Mexico, for example, another one in Nigeria. So the challenge last year was when we build and we start to put in order the design services team, it was this one. One of the main challenge is how to connect the team that we are working together, but in different time zones, and basically to cover all the project for the different regions. So this is basically what design service is doing today, delivering for all the regions, the typical 2D layouts and renders for the client request.
Cool. And so just maybe I'll build on what you're saying is that when you guys engage with customers and they're looking for either a bespoke kind of product, or they're trying to visualize how your product might look in their space, either from a layout perspective or
Yeah.
just how it might look, that's kind of when the sales team brings you guys in to sort of work with the client, and the client can be anywhere. So in fact, they're also a part of the team that you're trying to work with and satisfy. Did I have that right?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
exactly as you say. And then I think the client needs the quick impression.
Yeah.
So this is how Motif entered in the game.
Yeah.
Saying for Motif, we can do one render or one layout in a couple of minutes,
Yeah.
and then we can deliver this idea, I can say, because Motif give us the creativity as well. So we don't need to spend time in the software, in the design softwares. And then, yes, this is the first step that we do actually with Motif.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Fernando, I know I can keep asking you questions, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. So maybe
Yeah.
we can just have you show the audience kind of your process, your workflow, how you go about, and they'll also get a sense of the products you guys build as a result. So why don't I just turn the microphone over to you for a little while?
All right, so let me start with the typical project that we have in Bureau. This is what Scott explained before. The standard project actually are the typical project that basically we design with the standard product. And then it's a challenge for us because we receive this kind of picture from the client. They give us some dimensions and instructions, and then we have to clean these pictures and then scale the product and basically prepare the correct design for them with the accurate dimensions, and then to show them basically the before and after. We can say this is what the typical render project that we are doing in our standard projects. And this one was made by Motif. So here you can see the first picture showed this kind of chairs, and then we delete it. We don't need to do this in our software. We can do it directly in Motif. And then we just mark where we would like to have our product, and we design the complete space with the platform. The custom project is the project that we know that we can offer and the typical changes that we know that we can deliver. For example, if the client wants the interior panel in different color, if they would like to add the privacy film, or they would like to add some logos in the exterior, this is the typical custom project that Scott explained before, and this was, again, same for Motif. We accelerate the process now, and one simple prompt saying like change the interior color. In the standard is gray, and we say give it in green, or you just place the Pantone color that you want, and then you just receive a couple of options, but very close and accurate what we post, and we receive this kind of result.
Yeah.
And the last one, which is a big challenge for us because it's a big effort and traction, is the bespoke project, which is a complete new product. For example, important brands ask to represent their logos or branding in the exterior, change the glass for the solid panels, represent exactly the branding in the exterior, or add some add-ons like a flip table, change the door, do it floorless. So this is what we call bespoke.
Yeah.
Before it was, believe me, it was a challenge because how much time you can spend with this, Amar, in the typical software, right?
Yeah.
So now with one picture and one simple prompt, we can get this result. A part of Motif, I think, is a amazing partner with all the architectural and design softwares, because sometimes we need to adjust some small point, for example, delete the brand or some adjustment that we would like to get in the final result, and then you just need to download from Motif and work in your software. And here I have inside Motif in the platform a ton of examples that you can see how to change, for example, the standard chairs for one sofa that the client wants, place exactly in the specified point that we mark in orange in this case, and then give you the correct scale and product with one simple picture of our product. Here I have a lot of
I like it. I love it.
Good examples that we are constantly working with your team as well, that they gave us the updated. For example, this one is one of the last one. Your team told us last week, I think I have the meeting, and they say now you can combine more than one picture. So with one single prompt, but combining more than 4 or 5 pictures, you can do all in one. Then we work with the 2D layout to do it more attractive. You can convert one simple client layout 2D in 3D. And then some of our workflow, we always first scale the product, we put our picture, and then now we have this amazing tool as well that help us for the meeting with the client. The client would like to imagine the space, and Motif give you not only a static picture, it's giving you as well kind of overview of your office, change the interior, etc. So we can say that Motif combines all the challenge that we have in the past, or what we were doing manually. Now we are doing in one way inside the platform.
Awesome. So Fernando, I do want to talk about how you used to do it and how you're doing it now and what the differences are. But just for people who may not have used our product, if you don't mind going back to your first slide, I want to make sure that people understand what it is that they're seeing. So in your first example, the standard project, if I get it, the picture on the left in both examples is the current space. And then you've used Motif to render your product into that space, right? So because it looks so nice, it'd be like, hey, it's a picture of your product in their space. So, but this is actually a synthetic image that's generated using Motif that has spatially placed your product in the right spot so the customer can imagine before they give you the order exactly what their phone booth is going to look like in their space, right? So that's your...
Yes, exactly.
Right? So that's your first row, the standard project, place your product in their space. The second one is the same idea, except that now they're choosing different finishes, like you said, that Pantone green color, which is very nice, by the way, or or the little bit of the symbol outside. And then the third one is even more ambitious, where I really like your example on the left-hand side. Everybody can try and guess who that client might be, but you've taken custom branding, maybe even custom sizing and finishes, and literally, like, if you guys were going to apply a special wrap to the whole booth, you're able to again help the client visualize what it is that they're going to see in their space. Am I understanding that correctly?
Perfect. Yes,
Okay.
exactly
Okay.
as you described. And actually, I would like to back to the previous point, how was before. So imagine to clean this picture, how much time taking Adobe or one tool that you use to delete the
Yeah.
component, for example, that you receive from the client, and then to scale accurate the product. So it was a challenge. It took, I have some metrics, and I remember that we review the time we say this can take like 1 hour, and now we are doing this in 20 minutes or less.
Okay. Wow, let's go. So yeah, how did you do that before Motif? Like you mentioned Adobe, or like what was your process before? If a client came to you and said, "Hey, I'd like to see what your booth looks like in space," how would you do that, and how long did it take you?
Well, to be honest, Amar, the first meeting that we have with your team, I remember that some of your colleagues started to describe Motif, and then when we just finished the call, I say to Scott, I think they are the correct ones because they represent the same workflow that we are doing now manually, deleting the pictures in Adobe, scaling Blender, or entering AutoCAD to align the layout that we receive from the client. So it was completely, I can say the answer is in a manual way, combining different softwares. And now it's all in one. I can say we use only one software, which is Motif.
That's awesome. And so you use multiple software. How long did it take you in those days, in the old days when you're using multiple software? Like, was it a few hours, a day? How long did it take you to?
Yes, a few hours and a day for a large project. For some presentation that we have to show more than multiple options, designs, etc., can take 24 hours.
Okay. And so, and I'm glad that you can do this now much faster with us, but does that actually, from a business perspective, either you or Scott can answer that, does it help you to do it faster? I mean, okay, we're saving you time. Is there an advantage to doing it in 20 minutes versus an hour, other than the fact that you can drink coffee in the remaining 40 minutes?
Yeah. We say that you can sleep, and then Motif is working for you, and then in the next morning you can see the result.
Okay.
Yes, but it's like this actually. Basically, we just, when we are very busy, we just count with Motif, because some of our project need to do in a manual way, because need a lot of details, and they request 2D, 3D, etc. But then when we need quick solutions, for example, or fast idea to show in one meeting with one client, the first meeting, for example, to impress them, Motif is the correct one. And then if we are busy and someone is in Nigeria, for example, one of my colleagues working in Nigeria, he say, for example, hey, Fernando, the result are ready in Motif, and then in the next morning I can check all the results.
Okay, cool. Do you ever do these sort of changes live with the client present? Is there any other time when the client's like talking to you guys saying, hey, I like that lime green, but can you make it like slightly darker. Do you ever do it live with them?
No yet. This is our future
Yeah.
because we are thinking to use Motif. Yes, to use it with in our client meetings.
Yeah.
But then we are thinking all our apartment can start to use this. For example, if you are from sales or finance and you don't have any ideas about design, so I think with Motif they can do it because it's a very friendly application.
Okay. Actually, that's one of the questions that did come in from the audience is somebody asked, how technical do you think you need to be to use something like Motif effectively? What's your feeling? Is it difficult? Like, how much training do you think somebody needs to be able to do these things?
Well, in 1 week or less, the training, I mean, it's already 2 months with you guys, I think.
Yeah.
So, and then with all the support from your team,
Yeah.
it's very, very easy, and the app is easy to use as well. It's a very friendly app.
Great. So I mean, I'll ask both Scott and yourself, like, I do think, like you mentioned, like the sales team is kind of another group that, I mean, obviously design services is doing all these amazing work, but you guys see a potential for the sales team itself to sort of get involved in directly sort of working with clients with this stuff. Do you?
Yes, I think so, because they can combine one simple image and then they can just take the picture on site if they are with the client on site and they would like to check fast one option. I think is very easy and everyone can use it, just combining 2 pictures and it's done basically. You
Okay.
can get the result. Motif give you 3 options and then you select the best one.
Okay, excellent. And then you've been building more and more like workflows around this stuff. Like I think, as my team said, you built some kind of asset library and things like that. And maybe Fernando, just one more technical nerdy question for you, and then we'll go back to the business questions. So.
Yeah, well, this was another update from your team as well, that your team contact me and then they say, hey, you are using Revit and AutoCAD, so if you have the 3D models, we can put all your library inside. So in one part in Motif, we have one section with all the scaled 3D models that we import from Revit. And then this allowed to work more accurate. It means if the sales or someone want to take this and put in one picture, so will be accurate result. It's better than a 2D image, basically.
Okay, good. Cool. But do you mind going back to that layout workflow of yours where you had the floor plan? So, floor plan one. Yeah,
Yes.
this one. Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Like you're starting with a 2D image all the way on the left, and then you're getting these like 3D renders with your product in there. Like just double click on that a little bit. That's very interesting.
Well, what I can say for everyone, I think if you are not coming from architecture or design, you will not understand probably one 2D layout.
Yeah.
And we say sometimes it's better to show to the client the correct 3D space, which is more attractive. And then when we convert in 3D, basically it's because we are planning to use one of our 3D assets.
Yeah.
And then we combine this result with one of our 3D assets, and then you will get a floor plan top view in 3D, which is, I think, much better than the 2D layout.
Yeah. But Fernando, what you're telling me is that a lot of time what the client has is either just a photograph of their space or a floor plan like the thing on the left-hand side. They don't always have a Revit model or things like that, but you guys are able to use us in all those situations. So if somebody gives you a Revit model, wonderful. If somebody gives you a PDF document, which is a floor plan, you can use that. If somebody says, here's a photo of my space, you can work with that as well, right? And you can place your product in all those situations. Awesome.
Or a hand sketch, I can say. You
Yeah,
can
hand
put your hand
sketch too.
sketch and then convert it in 2D, and then you convert it in 3D, and then you will get an amazing result.
Wonderful. That's great. So let me bring Scott into the conversation. Like Scott as the the lead for product and as the founder of the company, like what I mean from a business perspective, like just speak to like how does being able to sort of do faster turnarounds, have your clients involved in the process, like what has that meant for you guys, and how do you see that continuing in the future?
Yeah, so you know the design services team's time isn't free, right? Even though it seems free to customers or to even our internal sales team.
Yeah.
Um, and we run like pretty clear reports on how the design services team impacts sales, and um, are constantly watching the numbers to say how are we going to make this more efficient, right? So that request actually costs $300 internally, and so we're trying to bring down the sales support cost consistently yet get the same results. And we've constantly been looking at tools
Hmm.
for this. And not only does it impact our current reality, but moving into the future of Bureau, where we'll be um, launching some pretty exciting products, this design services team is going to become more and more essential to our sales process. And so the goal is to equip our to get Motif built out in such a way that a completely non-technical person, like all of our salespeople, for example,
Yeah.
know the pathway to be able to create, maybe not every single thing that
Yeah.
Fernando has shown, but they'll be able to do the simple versions,
Yeah.
by logging in, doing it live, switching it, sending updated renders back, for example, without having to bother us. So
Yeah.
they're highly motivated to do that. But also moving into selling a multiple part product that needs to be arranged, and um, very clearly we see how we can likely build those blocks together and then have it tied into a quoting tool, um, to say this configuration costs this amount. So and I'll put this on the background of, like, we're very much an AI first company now, or maybe second. We're still making the adjustments as
Yeah.
so many are, but trying to experiment with different tools. And before we were using Motif, right? There's a lot of tools out there that um, can do some aspects of what Motif does. We did a very long on-ramping period with another tool that I don't know, it was months of onboarding and getting projects set up. And in the end, even though we had spent tens of thousands of dollars, frankly, to get this tool set up, we we took the sunk cost bias and said, Motif does all of this. The monthly is going to be way less, and we can be up and running in, like Fernando said, in 2 weeks. And so we just stomached the cost of that last tool with a little bit of frustration, for sure. Um, and have found that this is you guys are a great partner to build our processes upon.
Excellent. Well, that's totally music to my ears. And so, um, what I heard you say is that, at least in the way you see tools like ours evolving with you, supporting future products that you're building out, so that all you can include all the other things that you're doing in the future, include that in the workflow, and then you also see other people in your company, sort of sales team and other folks that are involved on the client facing stuff, start to use a tool like this. And yeah, that's it's amazing that for us, when we started Motif, it was the whole idea was sort of like, I call it democratized technology. Like, we really want to put
Mhm.
complex technology in the hands of as many people as possible in the building industry. And it's been honestly, it's from the sidelines watching you guys use our product and use it and solve a real problem it's been so wonderful for our team to watch how you guys have used it and done things that are both practical and differentiating at the same time. So that's been really great for us.
What's so cool, and where the power of Motive has been is, and with your team helping us know how to use the tool well,
Yeah.
is we can create those different pathways, right? It's
Yeah.
basically we can tool
Exactly.
the whole kit so that it's set up
Yeah.
so that the salespeople can make very accurate, um,
Yeah.
plans and images,
Yeah.
to help their process. But then also it can get more complex for the power users,
Yeah,
for example. But
exactly.
um, basically being able to build our tools within your tool,
Exactly.
and it has been
Exactly.
a great advantage.
So, Scott, I'm going to take one question that came from the audience that relates directly to the product capabilities, and then I want to ask you about just you said something about AI and just thinking about using AI, being an AI first, or as you said, AI second company. I want to just double click on that in a second. But in the meantime, I one of the audience members asked, what kind of rendering options do we have, and can you sketch to render and or text to prompt? So I'll take that as the motif person. So we can sketch to render. So if somebody gives us a hand sketch, we can create a image of that, and happy to double click into that at any level of detail that somebody would want in a follow up. Likewise, text to what they said, text to prompt, but I believe you meant text to image, and that should be out any day now. We're adding that capability. So that should be out. When I say any day, it will be like within the next week or so. So those things are there. In terms of rendering options, I think that question is pretty broad. We obviously have kinds of like resolution options. We have options relating to, as Fernando was showing, the ability to generate video. And then, depending on what people want in terms of options, there's lots of options in terms of like lighting, environments, finishes, all those kinds of things. So happy to do a separate follow up with whoever's asking this question. But let's get back to the bureau team. Scott, let's talk about AI a little bit. Obviously, people have already understood that the technology you're using to generate these images is AI visualization, where we use a combination of Google technology, some open AI, and some from others to generate the images that you are experiencing. But yeah, just talk about how you guys are thinking about AI in your business. Like especially it's interesting that we're in this physical business. You're delivering physical products, and yet something like AI, which is a entirely digital and synthetic technology, is so important to you. So how are you thinking about AI in your company in general?
I think about it on two levels, right? One, I'm always trying to pay attention to what's coming out. I think the technology is developing so much faster than we can adopt, one as companies, two as societies.
Yeah.
Um, and so we have to be pretty selective, right? In a lot of ways as to where does the technology provide value for where we're at as a business currently, right? I find the image models um, and the like design, we're seeing a lot of improvement in these models, but I find personally as a user, it's one of the biggest frustrations for me. I can get most of what I want done in code or building an app, um, but when it comes down to like I want a presentation and I need this booth looking like this, that's when I'm in nano banana, and I'm super frustrated with like, what are you aren't listening to me, and why is this so complicated? And so the layer on top, right, with Motif, where it has a lot of context for our product, and it uses dimensions very differently, and it gives you the ability to prompt smarter as well. So I don't know if I understood that question
Yeah. No,
properly,
I think it's super helpful,
but where
Scott.
we're able to in
Yeah.
the program where we're able to, you know, by like for me as a non-designer, I can prompt what I want using text to change the image,
Yeah.
um, and then using different examples. I find it solves that major frustration on the image front.
That's great. And are you experimenting with AI in other parts of your company as well? Are you in operations or something else as well?
Yeah, I on all fronts, right? So I'm weekly to our team painting the picture of the future, right? So like what's the world look like if we don't have web browsers,
Yeah.
right? And are we set up to
Yeah.
serve agents and become one of the top three recommended services without a human ever interacting with us.
Right.
So, on the data layer, right, and cleanup, and just like even philosophically trying to get our team ahead of it so that we're building.
Yeah.
We launch, right now there's like an award. I give $100 gift card every month to who's coming up with the best value driving use of AI,
Love it.
and then to teach it. So,
Love it.
um, but you find a lot of people, they want to go about it the way that they have done it,
Right.
and getting the jump into that different way of using the technology is really important. Can also be a huge time suck.
Yeah.
People building stuff where you're like, yeah, really, really cool, but how much time did you spend
Right.
building that in this very narrow use case that maybe applies to your to-do list, but was a real waste of time?
Great. Wonderful. Well, I think we're almost at time, so I've got one final question for each of you. So I'll start with you, Fernando. I'll ask, first of all, really appreciate you sharing your your work with us and being so open and helpful in explaining how you're doing work for your clients using our technology. What would you tell another audience member, an architect or designer who is skeptical about using AI in their creative process? Like, build on what Scott was saying. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Well, I'm coming from the design background, and in the beginning, for me, during the last 2 years, I was like negative with the AI, to be honest, because all the people say the AI will replace us, etc. And I think this is not true. I think the AI now is here to help us to accelerate process, to create amazing ideas that most probably will take hours in your software. And then if you are open to use it, and then if you combine with the software that you learn in the university or during your work experience, the AI is a fantastic partner, I think. And this is the same for the the AI that we are using internally in the company. For example, when I pass my report to Scott, I just use the AI tool to say, hey, give me this weekly recap fast during every Fridays, etc. It's just a simple prompt that can organize your life as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Fernando. And then
You're
Scott,
welcome.
for you, I was going to ask you, like, if you were to go in a time machine and think about Bureau 2 years from now, what does the company look like, and what role do you think technology has played in that future for your company?
Well, we've put booths on the moon. Um, no, I think we're like, frankly, we're in such unpredictable times, right? So, I have my big philosophical questions about AI, and technology and what we're developing.
Yeah,
I also have huge questions around what is the world going to look like
yeah,
in 2 years' time. Um, One of the things I love about our business is, you know, um, physical spaces, reality, are becoming, we're going to want to touch things, feel
yeah,
things, be in person with people. My hope is that, we continue to see a a level where we are the detailed, bogged down work that really slows down real problem solving, right? That can be taken care of so that we get to work on um, much larger problems as a society. Um, I, for Bureau specifically, I think the distractions are only going to go up in so many different ways. So I like thinking about how our product and how we can develop technology that integrates with our product really helps people, block out distractions, focus on what matters, and get a real sense of fulfillment in their work. And so, as entrepreneurial endeavors go, right, they take a ton of twists and turns, but so much of this comes down to what are the real needs and problems that our customers are experiencing. And we work in an office every day, so I am a customer of ourselves. I use our product
yeah.
every day. So continuing to develop according to what the world needs, but also leading the way in knowing what's coming because we live in the industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's a really good note to end this session on. And Scott and Fernando, thank you for being here. From our company's perspective, thank you for being our customers. We're learning a lot in working with you all, and this is a journey that we want to take with you and help you succeed with with what you're trying to achieve. I love the vision of a booth on the moon, and we'd like to be a small part of that, making that come true. So, thank you again.
And let me just give one last plug for you guys too.
All right, please.
I think one of the technology is one thing, but then seeing your team pay attention to how we're using the product, and of course you're building as well, and the way that you're using it. But I think the support, the seeing opportunities for us, that has made you be a completely different sort of partner for us, and both in terms of price point, capability, and team. You guys have nailed it for us, so it's a really easy recommendation for anybody but our competitors.
Thank you, Scott. I don't have to. That's mic drop. I don't need to say anything more. Thank you very much for being here, Scott and Fernando. Really appreciate it, and thanks all for joining us today. So that's all for this episode of From the Ground Up. If any of you are building something and involved in AC technology, we'd love to hear about it, and we look forward to the next episode. So take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Amar. Bye bye.